you're venturing into a programmatic area that I don't have familiarity with, so I apologize.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Gosar. Mr. Cooper?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank the witnesses for being here. At a time when record numbers of Americans are questioning the Federal Government's ability to manage its own affairs, it's kind of amazing that this hearing, in one of the smallest, hardest to find rooms on the Capitol Hill, that's not even covered by C-SPAN 3, this is a missed opportunity for anyone who's concerned about the future of the Federal Government, because what you gentlemen are discussing is, in my opinion, the most comprehensive report on how the Federal Government's doing. It's the only one that uses real business accounting, so-called accrual accounting. That's not cruel. It just tries to take into account what's on the government credit card, which Lord knows every family, every business, every government needs to focus on. So it's amazing to me when people are concerned not only about government finances but their own personal finances, and people worry about the stocks that they're holding in the stock market, and they look at the annual report they get from a company. And here you gentlemen have worked hard to present a report to the American people, even with its own handy Citizens Guide, to make it extra easy for people to understand. People are getting their favorite company's annual report. Somehow they don't even know their favorite country's annual report exists. What we're discussing here today is one of the best kept secrets in America. To my knowledge, there's not one businessman I've ever met who knows this report exists. There's not one business lobby that makes this a priority to focus on this. There's not one newspaper in America that regularly uses accrual accounting to describe the situation we're in. And this is an amazing, well, it's a missed opportunity for my friends in the other party, because the first plank of the Republican contract with America was no more congressional hypocrisy. We should play by the same rules we require of the regular citizens. And regular businesses of any size have to use real accounting, but not the Federal Government. So why aren't we holding ourselves up to the private sector standard? So you gentlemen know this already because you're accounting experts, and it's hard for you sometimes to translate your knowledge to average members. But in response to Dr. Gosar's question, I would urge him to look at the conclusion section of the Citizens Guide, handy Citizens Guide, which says two very helpful sentences here. The United States took a potentially significant step towards fiscal sustainability in 2010 by enacting the ACA, what he chooses to call Obamacare. It also says the legislated changes for Medicare, Medicaid, and other parts of the health care system hold the prospect of lowering the long-term growth trend for health care costs and significantly reducing the long-term fiscal gap. And that should be our primary job here on the Hill, to lower the fiscal gap. Now, accounting will never be perfect. It's just an approximation of what goes on. But this is the best report we've got, and very few people know about it. So I look forward to the first lobbying group in Washington celebrating and spreading this report. I look forward to the average Rotarian back home being able to access and know about this report. And it's true, it's available on the web. But nobody knows when they're reading the Wall Street Journal every day, as I did this morning, that they're reporting cash numbers only. So they really don't know what's on the national credit card, and I think they're entitled to know that. So there are many things we could go into the details of your report. I'm thankful that you gentlemen prepare this report, and you sometimes get grief and misunderstanding when you do it. Let's work on improving the mistaken payments. Let's reduce that to the bare minimum. You gentlemen are working hard on that already. But the key thing is here not to miss the big picture, that this is a more important look at the Federal Government than probably any other document. And most, if you were to poll members of Congress, most of them have never read it, have never heard of it, and don't know its significance, even though they guard their investments pretty carefully and care about which stocks they invest in. Well, this is our only country, and we need to make sure that the American people are aware of this, because in simple terms, the deficit, if you want to call it, of course the proper term here is net operating cost, is much higher than the cash number. And it's higher for some very specific reasons, and reasons that aren't necessarily fun to go into, because a lot of that discrepancy has to do with veteran spending and military retiree spending and civil service spending and things like that, that using traditional cash measures we are not keeping up with. We are not admitting what's on our credit card. So I hope we can work together to increase the prominence of this report, increase its accuracy, and let's make this even more of a gold standard than it is already today. And I see my time has expired, Mr. Chairman.